Hello everyone. We are going to learn together a poem written by one of the greatest of Welsh poets, Dylan Thomas, and the poem is titled Do Not Go Gentle into That Good Night. The poem urges us all to consider what we can make of our own lives. Even though it might be reaching its end, there could be things that we can still do. There could be miracles that are still made possible by us. So here goes the poem. Do not go gentle into that good night. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight and learned too late they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle on that good night. Grave men near death who see with blinding sight. Blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now, with your fierce tears I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. So here Dylan Thomas urges us that whatever your life may be till this particular point, there is still a possibility of you doing great, courageous things. Things that can that can have a very lasting effect on yours and somebody else's life maybe. So be brave, resist the oncoming of darkness and fight till your last breath. So even though he had written this poem in the year 1951 for his dying father, the poem contains a universal message. It contains the message that there is still a chance in all of us, right? There is still a chance for you to create magic. There's still a chance, a possibility which is left in us all to do something that was our life's calling. Right, maybe we are in our 90s, maybe we are very near to our death, maybe we are awaiting death, whatever it might be. There is still that small spark that can be kindled, that should be given a chance to be kindled, right? So here he says, do not go gentle into that good night. Do not accept your fate. Don't just be a passive traveler into this land of darkness. No, resist the oncoming of death. So here he says, old age should burn and rave at close of day. You should shine brighter, right? Whatever your situation might be, you ought to resist it, right? You shouldn't be very passive, and you shouldn't think that that fate would happen in my life, or destiny is what's gonna happen. No, you are the master of your ship, right? You can still create your own bit of magic in this world. So here he says, rage, rage against the dying of the light. So even though darkness is fast approaching, resist it with all your might. So here he says, though wise men at their end know dark is right. Wise men, wise human beings know that their dark is right. They know that death is inevitable. We all have to accept that. We all would die one day, right? So he says they know, wise people would know that their end is near. But even if their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. So even though they were wise, they couldn't bring about that effect that they thought they could bring, right? They thought that they could maybe startle the world. They thought that they could, spew a few more of revolutionary thoughts. But maybe life didn't give them a chance till now. But he says, you shouldn't be going gentle. No, resist it with all your might. Try one last time at least. Try, please, and see whether you can create a difference. Here he says, good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay, rage, rage against the dying of the light. So here he says, good men, people who were very committed to their true selves, people who were very morally upright, right? Those human beings, they are crying now, they are grieving now, because maybe they couldn't do the tasks or do the actions that they had always wanted to do. Maybe they have this thought that, what if I'm given a few more days to live, right? Maybe then my frail deeds can dance in a green bay. Green bay is the earth that we are inhabiting now. And these good men, these good human beings, they have this thought in them that if only I have a few more days, right? If only those deeds that I'd done, if only they are given a chance to grow, what if they grow and flourish? Right? So here he says, he urges them to resist, to rage against the dying of the light. So maybe their light is fast dying out. Maybe they know that their end is near, whatever it might be. He says, even the moments that you have, even they count. And then he says, wild men, the adventurous human beings who caught and sang the sun in flight. There are those amongst us who are very adventurous, who lives the principle of carpe diem every day, who are like Sorba the Greek, right? They live their day to the fullest. But maybe there are those wild, adventurous people who learned too late that they grieved it on its way. Even they might still be grieving it. They might be grieving the fact that they have only a few more days left. Maybe they have many more adventures in them, that are to be lived. So here he says, do not go gentle into that good night. Even if your days are near, even if your days are counted, do not go gentle. Always have that fierce warrior spirit alive in you. And then he says, grave men near death, who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay, rage against the dying of the light. So here he says, he addresses those grave, serious people. So here he says, near death, they see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. So there might be those very serious, grave people, right? Those very narky sort of individuals who are very serious throughout their lives. And he says, maybe it is as they reach their end that they realize that even with their blindness, it could be a physical and it could be even a psychological blindness, right? With all of that, with the ailments that ail them, maybe they aren't keeping very well, or it might be their physical conditions that had made them very grave and serious, right? So here he says, maybe it would be in their end that they realize that even with all of these difficulties, we can still be happy, we can still be gay, right? We can still celebrate our life, right? So this realization must have hit them at a very last stage. So here he says, they might be realizing that very late, right? The fact that blind eyes can also blaze like meteors, like shooting stars, their blind eyes can also blaze, might be a truth that they realize very late. So here he says, rage against the dying of the light, fight it, right? With whatever might that you have left, with whatever energy and zest that you have inside your mind, inside your heart and soul, just fight against, resist this onslaught of death, right? how much effort, how much ever effort it requires, please put in that, right? Whatever effort is required from your side is to be given, right? So here he says, finally he's addressing his father. For him, this poem was primarily written. He says, "And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray." So here he says, "Now, my father, you are standing at the zenith of a mountain." The mountain could be the life that he had lived, right? The journey is the life that the father had lived, and finally, you climb every step as a day, and then finally when you reach the last of your days, you've reached the zenith of that mountain. So here he says, you've reached the top, your life is about to be over, but even then he says, curse me, bless me, do something. When you curse or when you bless someone, it comes with a lot of vigor and zest from your side, right? So he says, do something, right? Curse me, whatever you want to do, just do that, right? I am here waiting for you. I'm here waiting. You're waiting for something to happen, right? So do anything that you want to do. Curse me, bless me, doesn't matter. So he says, with your fierce tears. So he wants him to retain the fierceness that he had possessed. He was his father, Thomas's father, was a grammar school teacher. He was also an English teacher. So he might have had, or he might have instilled the zest, the love that Dylan Thomas has for words might have been instilled by Dylan Thomas's own father. So he says, that fierceness of nature, that that vibrancy of life that you had inside you, I want to see that again. So curse me, bless me, do whatever you can so that you are invigorated. I want to see you invigorated, right? So here he says, do not go gentle into that good night. Rage against the dying of the light. Fight, father, please, at least for me, do what you can to resist the oncoming of your death. Do anything and everything so that you shake off the ashes and rise like a phoenix once again. So this poem, even though Dylan Thomas had written this in 1951 addressing his dying father, this contains the universal message that even though you might be approaching the last of your days, it need not see the last of your energy. No, you should celebrate life and live it to the fullest till the day you die, till your last breath. Live it to the fullest. Thank you so much.